Our topic today is successful kid entrepreneurs, what parents can do. I described in the last video on this topic that the current job market is creating a healthy job market. Out of 5 jobs, it creates 4 full-time and 1 part-time. But in the age of Obamacare, now the economy is creating 4 part-time jobs for 1 full-time job. So the likelihood is decreasing that our kids will have a successful lifelong career in corporate America. So what can we do as parents? Well, there's a lot of things we can do, starting with financial education. One of the great books on that was written by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Kid, Smart Kid. And he teaches in his books that really 2 key things. I'll just mention them. One, what we're told are assets are really liabilities, and what we think of as income is really just a job. So, for example, anything that is an expense is a liability. A house is an expense, it's a liability. A car is an expense, it's a liability. All those things are liabilities, not assets. Assets are things that create revenue. For example, a CD, a municipal bond, maybe some real estate you rent out. Those are all assets. The second thing he teaches, which I think is very fundamental, is the 4 quadrant of how to make money. We have the E for the employees, we have S for the self-employed, we have B for the business owner, and the last one is I for investor. So how do people make millions and millions of dollars? Well, they're investors. They may be investors in their own company, or they may be investors in other companies or other businesses, but they're investors. So our goal as we move to that quadrant is to move to the investor side as soon as we can. So I'm really happy with my son. He's now working full-time, and he's been buying some stocks. He's in technology, so he's been buying a few things from a few things related to Google and things like that he understands. So that's a great start. So the other thing we can do, especially when our kids are young, is we encourage them to do entrepreneurial things. For example, I hired my kids to do work for me when they're young. My daughter did accounting work for me when she was in middle school. My son and my daughter did my newsletter mailing, my mail operations. They ran that for me, and they were really self-employed because they did it. They had a certain timeline to do it, but they got to pick the time and when they wanted to do it. And typically, one would do it in the morning, or one would do it in the afternoon or evening. It didn't matter as long as I got it in the mail the next day. And then my son, when he was in middle school, he did some calling for me. I had him call. I used to do a lot of email blasts for PR, for publicity. And so he would call these different people to validate their name and address, and their name and their phone number and their fax number in particular. And I remember on one occasion somebody said to him, well, they said, who are you? I said, well, I'm Steve Moist. He said, well, why do you do this? Why do you want this information? And he said, I'm just a kid. I'm doing it for my dad. But what great experience for him to reach out there and touch the adult community and gain some self-confidence. So think of little things like that. If you already have a business, that's great. You can hire your kids to do little things. You encourage kids to look for ways to make money in the neighborhood, maybe raking leaves. I raised pumpkins when I was in 1st grade at 6 years old. That was a great experience. I sold seeds and cards and all kinds of stuff from door to door, food cutters and shoes from catalogs. All those were a great training ground. So encourage your kids to put their toe in the entrepreneurial world. That way, one day, when they're ready and they want to do that, they're not intimidated by it. This is Bill. This has been really something I'm really passionate about. I hope you'll take it to heart. If you want to learn more, you can go to to a link I have, link prosperity.com/Adam, A-D-A-M. Again, linkprosperity.com/Adam. Until next time, have an awesome weekend.